Hello, friends. It's Josh Goldstein coming at you. Hope everybody's having an absolutely fantastic day. I want to share some really important information with you about visa delays and administrative processing. This is something that came to me the other day that was very insightful and that I hope you'll find interesting. I also want to be around to answer any questions that you have about anything whatsoever, about visas, about immigration, whatever you need help with, I'm here for you. But essentially, what I wanted to talk about is when you're thinking about immigration, what's important. Oh, hi, Manny. How's it going? Um, when you get first of all, let's define what administrative processing is, because I don't think it's what most people think it is. When you go, oh, Ashley, that's awesome. Welcome. I'm so happy. Um, yeah, I mean, bringing people together, especially people who are getting engaged to get married, that's what we're all about. We love doing that. I remember when my wife and I were engaged to get married, we were so incredibly happy to be starting our new lives together. My girlfriend at the time, she's pregnant, so we had so many exciting things, and we're very happy that we can bring people together. Erica, your husband has been in administrative processing. Oh man, administrative processing for Ravender as well. That's no good. We've gotten amazing results in Montreal. But let me explain to you what administrative processing is, because I think it's the opposite of what most people think it is. Most people, basically, administrative processing is a delay that happens after your visa interview is complete. You go to a consulate or an embassy, you attend an interview for a visa. Instead of denying your application or approving it, they put you on hold and they say that your case is in administrative processing. There are two other words for administrative processing. One, words or phrases. One is 221G. If someone tells you that your case is in 221G, that's the same as administrative processing. The other word for administrative processing is quote unquote refused. That is completely misleading. If they tell you that your visa has been refused, what it really means is that it's put on hold. Administrative processing, refused, and 221G all mean the same thing. And they essentially mean that the adjudication process is not proceeding and that things are put on hold. Now, most people think that when a case is in administrative processing, they think that the agency is doing something, that they're checking something. They're doing a background check or a security check, or immigration history. They ask you to submit DS 5535, and once you do that, they're going to you assume that they're going to review it and make a decision about what's going on. But actually, what's really happening is that when your case is in administrative processing, it's best understood as a lack of processing. When you're process, you're just put on hold. And we've had clients who've been waiting for months and months and months, and actually for years they've been in administrative processing. Nothing is going on with their cases whatsoever. And we sue and the agencies. And when we go to court, we're actually doing with a Mandamus lawsuit. It's like we're hitting them in the head with a 2x4 or a shovel, and we're trying to get their attention. We're trying to say, hey, we want you to do something. We want you to do something. And this is what we did for Ashley. Your team did such an awesome job. You and your team changed my life. That makes me incredibly happy to hear. I know it was a long battle for you, and I'm so proud that I could be a small part of your success. Erica says, when can we file Mandamus? Well, Erica, if you could put a comment in here and tell me a little more about your situation. It says here, your husband's been in AP since June 13th, and he was also given a DS 5535. So the question that Erica has, first of all, I'm very sorry that you're in administrative processing. in a better world with a functioning immigration system that wasn't completely absurd, nobody would be in administrative processing. They would make decisions within a reasonable period of time. But unfortunately, we don't live in that world. But fortunately, we do have a solution for you. So the question is, when have you filed? When can you file for a mandamus lawsuit? And the answer is that you can file for a mandamus lawsuit once the delay has become unreasonable. So the question is, when can we determine whether the delay is unreasonable? How long is too long? Well, what I ask is, Erica, when did you file the petition for your husband? If the answer is that you filed it more than a year ago, then I think it's probably not reasonable and that we should consider filing a lawsuit. So I think you have an opportunity. And if you don't file a lawsuit, then you submit the DS 5535, and who knows when you'll ever hear from them again. What I want you to do is, I'm going to put my email address in here. Take a look at this. Let's see here. This is my email address right here. If you want a free case evaluation, or if you're interested in filing a mandamus lawsuit, I want you to send me an email. And in the subject line, I want you to put "no more waiting." No more waiting. If you put that in the subject line, you already have my attention, because the way I approach immigration cases is that what I think is that waiting is useless. Waiting leads to more waiting. Waiting does not solve your problem, because you can wait and wait and wait and wait, and all you're going to do is get stuck. So that's very, very frustrating. If you send me an email and you say "no more waiting," I would be incredibly happy to hear from you and to try to answer your questions and get in touch with you. And hopefully we can help you out. And if we find a way to help you, we will. Thank you so much for your comment. I love helping people, and I love being live and giving people as much information as I can, answering as many questions as possible. Erica says, when you file a petition, what do you mean? So to start your immigration case, I believe you filed an I-130 visa petition with USCIS. And eventually that petition went to the National Visa Center. And after the National Visa Center, it ended up with an interview at the consulate. And my question is, when did you file the I-130? Approximately when? If it was more than a year ago, as I'm sure it was, then you can begin to file the mandamus lawsuit. Let me answer a few more questions. I filed for my wife and son in April 2018, and it's been more than 4 years. Wow. Ravinder, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is horrible. I am so, so sorry to hear that. Let me tell you something, my friend. Right now in California, it is 4:23 p.m. After I go live with you folks, I'm going to head home to see my wife and my 2 kids. And every day at the end of my workday, I race home to see them as if I've never seen them before. And I'm so excited to see my kids. I wait for it all day. It's really a moment of joy for me. And it hurts my heart when I see and hear from people like Ravinder, who has been separated, probably separated from his family for quite some time because of these ridiculous delays. So I would love to help you. Now, Erica filed her petition in 2017. She says, I've been told by several attorneys that it's too early to file a mandamus, even though we started this petition in 2017. Well, Erica, I have not reviewed your case yet. I would love an opportunity to do that. But I can tell you this, if you filed your case in 2017 and your husband is still waiting for a final decision, that's not reasonable. That's not fair. That's not legal. And it is definitely not too early. Think about it this way. let's say that you were at a party or a cafe or a cookout or a barbecue or something like that, and you were talking to someone about your immigration case, and you said, "Yeah, I filed an immigration case for my husband, but it's still pending and it hasn't been approved yet. We're still waiting." And the person said, "Oh yeah, when did you file for your husband?" And you said, "Well, I filed it in 2017, which is 5 years ago, nearly." Someone who didn't know anything about immigration would look at that and say, "You mean you filed your petition for your husband 5 years ago? That's ridiculous. That's totally absurd. That's bonkers, crazy. 5 years to get a petition for your husband? Nobody should have to wait that long." So, again, I haven't reviewed your case. I'm not giving you legal advice. I can't do that until I take a look at it. That's ridiculous. Get your case after five. No. Um, Here's another. And pull this up. My system's not working. How do I do it? Here we go. I'm your client, and your team helped me every step today. This morning, I got a re-interview email from Islamabad Embassy in Pakistan. Thank you a lot. Hope to talk to you soon on the call in 2 months. Yeah, I hope you get approved very, very soon. Says here, I filed with your office in May for my N400. No word yet from USCIS. They say they're actively reviewing my case. Please help. Well, May wasn't that long ago. It usually takes a little time, but trust the process. Here we have Ravinder. Hey, Ravinder says, I'm a green card holder. Is that okay to file a mandamus lawsuit? Absolutely, it's okay. Absolutely. So Ashley says, once you get married, who do we turn the marriage certificate to? Okay, Ashley, we are grateful for you as a client, and we helped you get your fiance to the US and for the 90-day fiance type visa. And once you come in, you and your fiance can get married. And then after you get married, you go through an application process with USCIS that results in a marriage green card. So you file various applications, and that's what you do. So you don't really turn in the marriage certificate. You have to fill out a bunch of forms and applications and things like this. So it's a little more, and this is definitely something we can help you out with, Ashley, if you need to. Ravinder, another question. You're getting us some good ones. How long does it take for a security check for a DS 5535 in Montreal? And the answer is no one knows. No one knows. So when they say security check or background check, what, if anything, they're actually checking is unclear. But if it takes more than a month or two, then you have a problem. You have a problem. And when you have these sorts of delays, there are only two ways out. One way is to take your hands and sit on them and keep waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then you can hope that your case gets sorted out. The other way to do it is to take action. And when you take action, we go to court and we file a lawsuit and we fight the delay. And we say that this delay is unfair and unreasonable. And after we do that, the cases start moving and you get something approved. Remy, thanks for this. Welcome, welcome. Who else has some questions for us? Let's see. Here's my email address again. If your immigration case is delayed and you're watching this, then I'm your new best friend. because I know exactly what to do to help you out. I want you to send me an email, and I want you to write no more waiting in the subject, because I don't like waiting. And my mission, I was put on this earth to help fight immigration delays, to help people like you get unstuck so you can reach your immigration goals. And sometimes getting people unstuck takes a little bit more work than others and requires a lawsuit. Here's a question from Shanara. It says, my husband went to his interview on April 22nd, and after the interview, they gave him a questionnaire in 221G. The case status is refused. What should I do? Please, Dhaka, Bangladesh Embassy. Well, first of all, I'm very sorry to hear that you have this delay. Your husband deserved to be approved, I'm sure. And if they were fair and reasonable, they would have been able to give him the visa that he deserved at the interview. But unfortunately, that did not happen. And the question is, what can you do about it? And as I said before, as I see it, when you're in a 221G delay scenario like your husband, you have two choices. One is that you can wait. You can just wait. And hopefully, if you wait and you're patient, maybe they'll get around to approving your application at some point. But what happens is that the waiting usually is ineffective. And weeks go by, and then months go by, and then years go by, and eventually people start Googling what to do. My visa's delayed, administrative processing, and they wind up on my YouTube channel or my website, and they start learning a little more about Mandamus, about how to do a lawsuit. They start seeing reviews and testimonials, and they watch testimonial videos, and they begin to become aware that they don't have to wait, especially when you've been waiting and waiting and waiting just to get an interview. And it's at that point that they contact us, and once you hire us, we file a lawsuit and we fight back against the delays. Instead of passively waiting, we're taking action, and that's how we get immigration delays resolved. We have a lot of clients in Bangladesh, and we've gotten great results. So if you are in this situation and you want to explore more about it, email me and say no more waiting in the subject, and I'll be happy to have an email from you so I can find out more about your situation and follow up with you. Let's see, what other questions do we have? All right, here's a question not related to administrative processing from Jen Villanueva. Thank you for your question. Thank you for joining us from YouTube. I'm a little bit, the question's blocking my mouth, but that's okay. It says here, let's see, I can change this around. It says here, I have a question not related to administrative. I'd be very happy you can help me. If the U.S. petitioner has a domestic violence record that would hinder him to file for a K-1 visa, it might. There's something called the Adam Walsh Act, and that sometimes is a big, if a case is subject to the Adam Walsh Act, that would be a massive K-1 visa. So you should consult with an lawyer. Here's a question from Mohammed Al-Tamimi. Let's see. It says here, dear sir, ma'am, thank you for reaching out up to the exemption is filed. I'm not sure what your question is, but it's they said they kept, Ravinder says he kept his son's passport so they can issue the visa only so he can start school. Yeah, I think you need to start considering a mandamus lawsuit. That's what I would do. I wouldn't continue to wait. I would consider it. Why don't you send me an email, say josh@jgoldlaw.com, And in the subject line, put no more waiting and tell me a little more about your situation. Put your phone number in there so we can figure out how to reach you. And my team and I will follow up. Richard says, thanks for helping all these frustrated folks get their cases moving again. It's to do this work, and thank you for thanking me. Here's a question from Hisham Wazir, our friend on YouTube. Hisham, thank you so much for your question. It's a good one. Once a mandamus lawsuit is filed electronically, how many days would it take to see some movement on the case? That's a really good question. Each case is different. It depends on what type of case you have and where it is in the system. Best result, but I think for most people, it's between month 2 and 3 that we start to see some action. But that's typical. I'd say 2 or 3 months would be a good answer to your question. Erica says, I really hope you all can help my family. I hope we can too. We'd love to do that. And I'd love to have you on my live broadcast, maybe as a guest once you're approved, and we can have a good laugh about how we put this delay behind you. So yeah, that'd be fantastic. Cecilia, thank you for joining us. Here's a good question from Ravinder. Again, I'm going back to you. I'm picking on you a lot today, Ravinder. It says, if I file a lawsuit, would the embassy get angry and deny your case because you file a lawsuit? Absolutely not. Everybody asks me this question. It's the number one most common question I get, which is, hey, I don't want to file a lawsuit because the consul is just going to get mad at me and they're going to deny me in retaliation. But of course, that doesn't happen. And if you Google me and you Google Joshua Goldstein immigration lawyer review, you'll see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reviews. And most of them say really nice things. And you won't find any reviews that say, I hired Josh to file a lawsuit and then the consulate got mad at me and denied me. Erica says, do you send a mandamus draft before sending an actual mandamus? Yes and no. So what we do is we prepare a draft of your lawsuit after you've hired us, and we send it to you for your review so that you're satisfied that the lawsuit that we prepared is accurate and complete. And once it is, you approve it, and then we file it. What we don't do is we don't send it to the embassy or consulate and ask them to pretty please approve the visa so that we won't file. We don't do that. And the reason we don't do that, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. We've tried it over and over and over. It doesn't work. They don't read it. They don't get back and do it. So it doesn't work. Here's a question from Taha Rashid. Can you answer my question? Thank you. Yes, I would. Thank you for your question. Let me scroll up and try and find it. Okay, good. Taha says, hey, can you tell me after the case is executed, how long will the defendant start working on the case? I am your client. Thank you so much. And they have set a date, but I don't see any progress on my case. This is what I would say. This works. I can't say exactly when it will work, but it will work. But let me give you a little more insight. Let me tell you another story I have about a client. So once you file a lawsuit, the defendants have 60 days to file an answer. They never file an answer. They always come back and they either file a motion to dismiss or they file an extension, usually an extension. And I have a client where the government filed an extension, and the client got really upset. He says, wait a minute, an extension? I don't want an extension. Oh, I can't believe this. This is terrible. What if another extension? What if I get endless extensions? When does this end? I filed a law to make things happen, and I'm just getting this extension. Well, he was going back and forth with me on emails by that. He was got approved. But to answer your question, How long until the defendants start working on your case? You haven't seen any progress yet. Most cases, we don't see much progress until into the second month. So I would give it 2.5 months from when you maybe 2.5 months or so. I know you're probably counting the minutes and the days and the seconds even. So I know it's frustrating because the delay is what you want to go away, but it's going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of time. But I would say give it a couple months. Don't give up hope. Um, let's see. Um, all right. Mohammed says, can you please tell me how I can clear my name? I worked as a U.S. Army interpreter since 2009. My fingerprints are clear. My background is clear. I don't know why I was put under Section 212A3B. Okay, let me answer your question, Mohammed. First of all, thank you for the work that you did as an interpreter and for helping the United States military. I'm sure that you would very much like to get a visa so that you can move forward. 212A3B is what they call the terrorism-related inadmissibility ground, TRIG. And it means that you can't have a visa because of terrorism, which is usually completely ridiculous. I'm sure you weren't a terrorist because otherwise, why did the U.S. military hire you to be a translator? So what do you do about that? Well, there's some news I have to share with you. About 2 weeks ago, the government came out with a waiver process that's used for people who have 212A3. So if you have 212A3B, send me an email and I'll send you a link to the waiver, the new waiver, so you can read more about it. My office has not prepared such a waiver yet. No one has prepared such a waiver yet because it was just announced, but it does provide hope. Rosa, Josh, you're the best. No, Rosa, you're the best. Says, my brother living in New York had his interview last November. He has a working card and was able to travel, but no green card yet. How long is the wait? Well, we don't know how long the wait is, but I would be very interested in learning more about your brother's case. So have him email me and send me an email, and in the email subject line, put no more waiting. And I would be happy to talk to him about his situation if we can help out. Let's see. Great question from Shelly. Thank you for joining, Shelly Ann. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. Is the K1 visa faster than CR1? So is it faster to file a fiance visa or a marriage visa? I'm a big fan of getting married. Do that. Don't file the fiance visa. Go for marriage. We have a video coming out that it walks you through all the differences. So that's what I say. Imatharo29, our friend from YouTube. I don't understand why the consuls are creating more work for themselves by allowing the medical exams to expire. We get stuck with the bill to redo it. I'm 100% in agreement with you. It's ridiculous what they're doing. It's so unfair, and it makes more work for them, and it drives up the costs for you, and it's absurd. And that's one of the reasons why we're so committed to filing lawsuits to help people who are delayed. It's just ridiculous. I'm going to go back and see if there are any questions I didn't catch, because I feel like a few people have put some questions in here that I may not have caught. Mavish, my interview was June 1st. He gave me 221G letter. My husband and children are U.S. nationals. We'd be happy to help you. Shannara, Please help me, 221G and questionnaire. How long can I wait? And when can I do the lawsuit? I think you should consider doing the lawsuit, and you should consider doing it right away. And you should do it as long as the case has been pending for a year since the initial I-130 petition was filed. Send me an email, josh@jgoldlaw.com, and in the subject line, put no more waiting. I'd be very happy to hear from you. Ravinder, I'm scared they might deny my case if I file a lawsuit, and I got to wait much longer. Well, they're not going to deny your case because you filed a lawsuit. I can guarantee you of that. I know it feels weird to file a lawsuit against the agency that's reviewing your green card and your visa, but that's what you have to do. And it works. It works. It really, really, really does work. Yeah, so let's see here. Taha says, one last thing, your team mentioned they're not suing the FBI and other agencies anymore. Is that with my case or everyone else's case? Generally, we changed our approach. We don't include the FBI as a defendant anymore. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. I won't get into it, but the strategies that we use in these cases change over time. And we file about 70 of these cases a month. And so we are getting better at it. We're learning more all the time. The way that we do things now is not the same as the way we did things in January. And next year, we'll be doing differently than we do today. And we're always something. Hope that helps, Taha. If you have more questions, let me know. I hope everybody has an amazing day, and I plan on going live again